The 28th of October, Rabbi Furst, Mishna Berura. Including.
Okay, fine. We have Mayor here on the telephone, so he'll be joining us by phone for today. Okay. Good morning again. This is Rabbi Shlomo First here, Shiva Samanov Shahim Shalom Care of Zoom. Our second shir this morning in Mishnah Berura, learning Hilchos Netilos Yadayim, Simin Kuf Samech Aleph. I believe we're starting Sif Beit. Let's take a look. You should be able to. That. Yeah, let's take another review of the Mechaber in Sif Beit of Siman Kuf Samech Aleph.
Okay, Kol
Go ahead.
Devar, She'eno Makpid, Alav, Eno Chotses. Anything that a person is not particular about, he doesn't have to remove in terms of a barrier.
Right.
Haya Darko Shel Zeh Lahakpid V'zeh Ein Darko Lahakpid. And it is the way to be, it is the way of this to be particular, and of this to not be particular. Lemi Shidarko Lahakpid Chotses. For the one whose way is to be particular, then he should be more fastidious in removing dirt. Lemi she'ein darko lahakpid eno chotses, and the one whose nature is that tends not to be particular, he doesn't have to be so careful about removing everything. Ketzad, how is it? Haya echad tzaba. There was a painter. V'hayu yadav tzivuos, and he had paint on his hands. Ein hatzeva chotses al yadav af al pi sheyesh al yado mimashus shel tziv'onim. What is hatzava?
Sub is paint, right? And Savim are painters.
Right. So the paint is not a barrier on his hands, even though that there is on his hands the presence of paint. Lo haya tzaba. If he's not a painter, im hayu yadav tzvaos, if he has on his hands paint, v'yesh mamash hatzeva al yado, and there is actual paint on his hands, harei zeh chotses, then behold, this person needs to remove the paint. Shehayid ha yavesh chotses v'halach eno chotses. And when it is that the that the material is wet, he doesn't have to be careful about it. V'chein hanashim shedarko litzboa yedehem lenoi v'chayotze bazeh. And so women, that is their way to savoa, to color,
It's their way that they, I mean, since they're usually involved with painting, right? It's their way to have paint.
oh, and to be more aware of the color issues.
Well, I mean, yeah, since it's the dark and sorry, they're in Illinois, right? They color their hands for to adorn
Right.
themselves.
So they color their hands for beauty. Uh V'chayotze bazeh, and they have to be concerned about this.
Well, peyote and similar things, meaning in the other similar cases where people do, sometimes you'll find people will have their hands or colored for various, let's say a clown, for example, right? A clown,
Right?
so part of his profession, part of his performance is that his hands are colored in various different colors, right? So therefore he wants it there, right?
Right.
So he's not mad about taking it on. The opposite. He's mocked if you take it off. He doesn't want it to be removed. He wants the makeup to remain on, right?
Right. Because if he takes it
Then
off to wash his hand, he's got to go put it all back on again.
that's right. That's right. So again, this is always good. We'll have to see in the sure how these are all applied in terms of the halakha, because we have to remember the general rules. That if it's a majority of the hand, that's one thing. If it's something which they're makpid on, it's another thing. So we'll see how these rules apply in these various different cases. And then you have the exceptions to these cases, like these special people that they want their hands to be colored, right?
Right.
Also, something you go. I remember when I was a child, we used to go to the the New York World's Fair 64, 65. And if you want to go out, go and you pay. You want to go out, they'll stamp your hand, right?
Right.
So after a while, I'm not sure if they did it originally, but after a while they used an invisible stamp, right? They put it under an ultraviolet light, and they could see the stamp, right?
Right.
Because people probably didn't want the hands stamped. You don't want your walking around your hands stamped on it,
Right.
so they used an invisible stamp. So that type of thing, if you would have a stamp right on his hand, that would be something which people are probably mocked about. They don't want it on his hand, not doing it for any specific reason that's going to help them, like the women with the coloring their hands with beauty.
Right.
So that will be the only all these different cases.
Um, Ein oso teva chotzes. Uh, this coloring does not have to be removed.
Right. So in those cases, the paint is not going to be necessary to be considered a barrier, and it won't have to be removed because the opposite, they want it there.
Right. Um, okay, so this is the Ramah, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if you, I don't know if you're familiar with, there's a certain custom and there's certain, I'm not sure if they all do it, but certain sects of those from the Edis and Mizrach, the Sephardim, the Akala, either the day, the week before she goes to get married, before she goes, they have a special ceremony. It's called I think it's called a henna, and they put this some type of spices which penetrate the skin, and they put a this spice on their hands, and it leaves a stain on their hands, right? So now we're going to have to think about, we're going to get to this point also. You have certain things which penetrate the skin, but they're not on the surface, right? I mean, if you take a magic marker, right? So that's penetrating. That'll penetrate the skin, but there's nothing really on the surface. So that may not be a chatzitza at all. Here we're talking about paint, where paint has an actual mamashis. It has an exact actuality of being a material substance on your physical hand, where some things may just be stains. A stain, what's the difference? What's the difference between painting a piece of wood and staining a piece of wood?
Um, well, the stain gets absorbed into the wood.
Right,
Of course,
exactly.
the change is
Right,
external.
right. So is a stain on a person's hand going to be considered a chatzitza? Right? If it's only a penetrated substance into the skin, it may not be considered a chetzitza at all. We'll have to see about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Good. Let's see the Mishna Berura. That'll bring us to the Mishna Berura in Sivkat and Yud Aleph.
Right. Uh, no. Mishnah Berurah. Um, doesn't it go to Yud Zion?
Yud Zion? Yud Zion, all the way down there? No, no one said no. Why Yud Zion?
Uh, no,
Six days, right?
I guess you're right. Yeah, it's a different subject. Mishnah Berurah, Mishnah Berurah. So we've got Yud Zion. Well, I'll worry about it when we get there. Gilday Makkah
No, no, no,
Sha'al.
no, no. Yud Aleph in the Mishna Berura, Yud Aleph.
Oh, you want me to go to the Mishnah Berurah now?
Yeah, right.
Okay, okay. I see. I see. Yud Aleph. Okay, I see where it is. Kol Devar Kule. Anything, etc. Hayinu im hu b'miuto dafka. If it is actually very small, afal gav, even though dichvar zachar zeh hamechaber b'sof saif hakodem. Even though, let's see, if it is very small, even though that,
Because Mr. Brewer here is he's going into a technical point,
uh-huh,
which is relevant to the Allah. He's simply saying that if you look, the Mechaber only really mentioned this already. So why is he repeating it? That's what he's explaining over here now.
Uh-huh. Okay. So he will wait until um uh wait a second, not he'll wait. Even though dichbar, what's dichbar?
Already, Afagav the Kavar Zachar Zamachaber so Siman Akodim, even though this was already mentioned by the Machaber at the end of the previous Sif.
The Sof Saif Hakodem Kifalo Khan. It falls here. Mishum Tichol Hasaif Zeh, because all of this
Since this whole Sif,
subtopic,
this whole exactly very good. This whole subtopic exactly very good.
Hu Divrei Harashba.
Yeah, all this whole section, or this whole subsection of the words of the Rashba.
Mamash, the actual words of the Rashba. Pamuna Yosef. I'm sorry, no. Mishum Tichol Hasaif Zeh Hu Divrei Harashba Mamash, actually. Kamuva Beves Yosef. What's Kamuva?
As is cited in the Beis Yosef. But as is literally brought, as is brought in the Beis Yosef.
Viratza the Hatiko, and he makes a copy. Bilashono, in his language.
Right, and he quoted, and he wanted to copy his language, his wording. He wanted to copy his wording. Okay, that's technical. Let's see next. Sif cutting Yud base. Now let's see. This is now talking about the painters.
By V'hayu
The painters,
Yadav.
as well, right?
I'm sorry.
Savonim. His hands are covered. His hands are covered with paint.
His hands are covered with paint. Rotze Lamar, that is to say, Miktsas mi makom hanetila.
Meaning a partial portion of the place that has to be washed.
I'm sorry. De'ilu haya rubo. That if it needs to be,
and if it would be a majority, right? What would be, it would not be the halacha if it would be a majority of his hands covered with paint. Why the kaimalan? We have established the halacha.
right, established. The afilu eno makpid chotes. That even if he's not particular, he still has to be concerned. Achein b'seifa le'inyan nashim shedarkan litzbo yidehen legoyim sham afilu.
Right, but and in the Sefer, when you're dealing with the women, Shedarchim Letzover Yedeyim Lenoi, that it's the way of the women that they would color their hands for beauty. Sham Afilu Kol Yedeyim Tzovonim, even if their hands were completely covered, absolutely covered with paint. Nami Kaven Shemischavim would also be not Chotzeitz, Kaven Shemischavim Lesos Kain, since they're intending to do it. It's something that they intend to do. They want that there specifically. The road says they want this. Harihu kigufoi mamish. It's like their actual hand. It becomes like their actual body. The paint becomes like a part of their body. So it won't be considered to be a intervening substance. So good. We'll go over this last point tomorrow. We'll repeat this last if cutting because it's contrasting. What's the difference between painters that if their whole hands are covered with paint, it is a chatzitza, it's a barrier, and women if their hands are completely painted, they're not considered to be a barrier. So basically, the answer is the women do it for noi, they do it for beauty. They want it to be covered with paint. The painters, they would prefer it's not covered with paint, but that since it's part of their job, they just put up with it. But they really don't want it covered with paint. But we'll see that that's the way to explain things out of the point that's mentioned in the Mishna tomorrow. Okay, very good. Thank you, Lou.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi.
Hope to see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, Mr. Hashem. See if you can find out about this protest.
Yeah, we'll see what's happening. Okay, very good.
Maybe your yeshiva, they'll know more about it.
Okay, thank you.